Yo, what's going on, guys? Here's another one that I'm keeping my eye on. It's NVCN. I'm just starting to screw around a little bit with these cheaper stocks here because I figured I'd probably put some of my TA to test here on some of these guys. So this one is NVCN. I'm sure you guys have heard from it. I actually heard about it from Chris Sane, and I've been watching it for a little while, and I know when he mentioned it somewhere in this range here. It had a beautiful breakout. I have this trend line above. I have a lot of lines here, you can tell. But I have this trend line above here. And obviously it doesn't look like it's quite intact with it. But when you look on the weekly, that's where I originally drew it based off of the weekly here. So you can kind of see the way that it's been moving here. So, I did have it in this rising channel that we actually broke bullish out of. On the weekly, we're not too overbought. We're actually just heading up in that range, which is nice to see. We're quite a few weeks away from a golden cross, not even close actually, because this still has to roll up and do everything like that. But if we look here on the daily here, we're a couple, maybe a couple weeks or maybe a few days away from this golden cross here, where the 50 crosses the 200. So as of right now, you can see that we got rejected and we double topped on this RSI here, and this is in the overbought area anyway, and we're kind of coming back down. So what we could actually do here is draw some trend lines here of what looks like a rising wedge, or maybe a rising channel or something, right? So that's based off of that there. So you can see that we're kind of getting close to touching this line here, so it's very possible that we could actually get a bounce here, or we could break this and come down a little lower. Obviously, there's no telling just yet, but I'm going to take a look and see what's going on. So you can tell from the volume here on the daily that the volume has definitely fallen off, especially the sell volume here. It's not actually that, it doesn't make me worried, but we just had this red TD9 flash on the daily, and we're getting a good correction since then. And we just bounced off here, actually. You can see we bounced off this purple daily, and, a little bit, wicked a little bit below it here. It's $1.76, and we bought back up here. Now, this level that it's at here, you can see the support and resistance below, based off the Ichimoku cloud. And when we broke through this first resistance, we had a nice run up, and we came back down, and we tested it as support, which was great to see. And that was actually right at $1.61. This trend line here I have is kind of this, what it looked like, somewhat of a rising channel that we broke bullish out of, whether there was some news or just a lot of buying. You can see this beautiful volume that came in on this retest of this pattern. So, if we go off of this this trend line here, of course, it doesn't have to come back and test this perfectly, but this, I don't know if we'll get this buy zone again at this 177, but you can take a look at this purple line here. It's at 179. So, that's a pretty solid spot to potentially pick some up here. But if we take a look here on the 4-hourly, let's look at the RSI here. You can see the RSI broke that channel on this area, which it's done in the past, and it came down to roughly this range. So, doesn't mean that it has to do that again. But if it was to continue a little bit lower here before we get any type of movement, we could be actually looking at potentially retesting this line here as support, which is right at like $1.70-ish. So if we take a look and do a quick, let me hide some of this TD9, Ichimoku cloud stuff. So you can see we have some crosses coming in here. This 200 could potentially come up, even though this 50 is looking like it's rolling a little bit, and that's rolling a little bit. So we have to be cautious on that, of course. I would give it a little bit more time to see what it's going to do, personally. But let's take a look at this fib retracement here from this to probably this high, somewhere up in this range here. Maybe right there. Let's see what happened. So, we like to buy off of this 618 here, and we're almost there. Now, it's possible it could actually come down to this 171 because that's right in line with this trend line here. And there's no real signs of this rolling just yet. So, buying off this $1.71 level would actually sound pretty reasonable to me based off of how we've reacted here with this price action. And let's take a quick look. So, maybe I'll show you on the daily. It might be a little better. There we go. So you can see here that we've came up, tested this green trend line in the top, wicked out of it, rejected, came all the way back down here, came up, triple topped here. We did double bottom on this line, but it was a fake out because that should have been a beautiful W breakout. But at the time, I think we were just a little bit overextended on the RSI here. So we weren't able to have a real W breakout there. And not only that, but there was not much volume. So this was kind of the area here, and volume was pretty low, right where we would have expected that W breakout there. So it wasn't confirmed. And we did roll over here. So we came all the way back down here, and we double bottomed right on this area. And now we ran back up here. We broke through this resistance. Well, broke through this resistance, came up, tried to break through this long-term resistance here, and we were not able to break out. So that long-term resistance is roughly $2.44, just so that you can keep that in mind. And if we, took a little longer here to potentially double bottom here or, make a W on this before we blast up, this would be a beautiful long position somewhere in this $2.52 level. That would be the level we'd want to see break. And if you're trying to catch, some lower price action, we could actually look for this $1.71 area to hold, because I kind of feel like we might do something like that where we round off right on this $1.71 and maybe hold this as support. But of course, if we have another volatile day like we've been having, and this ends up being some kind of fake breakout, then it's possible that we would come back down in here again, chop a little bit before we break again. So that level down there below this support level is all the way down in the $1.40 level too. So we, but as of right now, seeing that we're getting all these golden crosses coming in on the daily, I don't really expect that we would break through all the support and just drop like that. So I'm kind of looking for some positions anywhere in this $1.77 to $1.71 range. Now, I did actually grab myself some at this $1.86 level just to, get my position in there. And, I'm going to start nibbling a little bit there, but I'm most likely expecting to put a nice buy order at this $1.71. But I'm going to wait and see what happens when we get here and see if we get a nice bounce or not. But I might put one buy order there and then see what happens after that. So that's kind of the levels that I'm looking for. And I do like the way that it is looking, and I like that all these moving averages are rolling up here. So this is one to keep on the radar for sure. So if we can't hold support there, like I've said, this main support is all the way down the $1.40 level. So, that's why I say we might want to be cautious here just to make sure it's going to hold. But I feel like we are going to hold here with the way that everything's looking. But, let me know if you like this video, and keep all this in mind. But, of course, if this breaks here on the daily, then that would actually bring us down in those lower levels. So I don't feel that it's going to quite break. I think that we might just have one more red candle here that wicks us down to, $1.71 probably. As low as $1.65. But the 171 is the 0.618, so that's why I'm really eyeballing that level. And then we should start seeing some life coming back into this thing. But if we look down at the hourly here, let's see if we can notice anything going on. Yeah, so we're still coming down, no signs of a bounce, no green TD9 flashes, although we could get a green TD9 hourly right here on this next candle, which would be nice to have a nice little bounce. And if we did have a bounce, say at this $1.85 level, then you would expect us to maybe come back up to this $1.95 before potentially getting rejected at this red resistance here, because you can see this 20 EMA is still pointing down and this 50 is still rolling over. So this could actually push us a little bit further. So this is all the way down close to the $1.71 that we're looking for. So we might end up looking something like this, even if we get a little wick up there, maybe a rejection, and just kind of do some price action before coming down there. So just keep this one on your radar here. And if you don't want to play any of this price action here, and you just, you don't want to catch this somewhat of a falling knife here, I guess you would call it, then your position that you'd really want to enter, I mean, you could look for a confirmation above this $2 range, or probably $2 range-ish. You could look for a confirmation there, and if you wanted to really wait, keep an eye on it, you could enter somewhere in this $2, I believe it was $2.50 area here. You could wait for maybe an hourly close above 260, 275, and then you could long it from there, and from there you have, your breakout is all the way, it could be all the way up in this $4 range if it decides to eventually come back up here, which could take a couple weeks, of course, or a month, but maybe a couple months. But this is just kind of what I'm watching here. So, I mean, I'm expecting that we will take a little bit of time before any of this happens, so it's not something that you need to rush into, because it's not just going to wick right up instantly. But it will probably, wick down, catch support, and then consolidate for a little while before breaking this line here. So, anyway, guys, keep this one on your radar. And those are the levels that I'm looking for, so I wanted to put that out there. All right, peace.